Today's piece is another piece by Austrian composer Beat Führer. It's called Fama. It was completed in 2005, and it's for choir, orchestra, and actress. So there's an actor, a choir, and orchestra. If we look at the instrumentation list here, the choir is very small. It's just two of each voice, SATB. And then the orchestra looks like it's 2-1-2-1, but there's also a tenor saxophone in there. And then for the brass, it's just 0-2-2-0. Two percussionists, piano, accordion, and then strings. Actually reduced strings, just like 1-1-2-2-1. So it's almost like a little chamber orchestra. I guess I'll just have to add this to the roster of chamber orchestra pieces that I accidentally am covering in the orchestra series. It's broken up into 7 or 8 scenes. 8 scenes here. Maybe you can tell I know almost nothing about this piece. We got a legend of extended techniques here. Just one page of them. The winds have some multiphonics, it looks like. They might all be overblown. And then we have like a couple different note heads for like more percussive sounds, and then half covered tone hole stuff, and then these notes that transition from fully covering or from half covering a tone hole to like open tone hole. So that's all the winds have to worry about. The piano has to like dampen the strings occasionally, it looks like, and maybe pluck the strings with the plectrum, and some octave harmonics, it looks like. Then the strings, we got all your normal bow positions. There's 4 of them in this case, and then of course like artificial harmonics, but it looks like Führer is probably not going to notate the sounding pitch. He's just going to ask for like depressing the strings less. Collegial battuto has just this abbreviation CLB, and then fingernail pizzicato. This is different from a Bartok pizz. This is a symbol you see more in like harp writing, not so much strings. And then left hand pizz, the plus sign is very normal for that. Yeah, that's about it, I think. Percussion, it looks like there's a couple cymbals. I'm not going to bother translating them. It's not apparent immediately to me what those are. But there you go. It's very easy to understand. I don't speak German, and I can understand most of these just fine. This is what the score looks like. A lot of Führer scores all of them that we've looked at so far, except maybe one piece, have been handwritten. So his handwriting is quite messy, but the layout is very normal, and it looks like we have a mix of things going on here. So the London Sinfonietta has a listener's guide here. I guess the UK premiere was a bit later. The story is a distressed young woman is forced into prostitution in order to pay her father's debts. Pretty straightforward. So Führer was 51 when he wrote this piece, and the concept behind this piece is a sound theater. The narrative is compressed into a single instant, captured in endless repetition, and projected into changing spaces, whatever that means. This is just the composer's own words. Scene 5 stretches a minimal amount of music over about 14 minutes, and musical fragments constantly recur in it. So that's sort of like the climax of the piece, it looks like. And then there's this very detailed guide of just scene 5. So that's something to look out for, I guess. Scene 5 is just the ensemble. It has no soloist. The actor is in scene 1, scene 3, and scene 6. Then we have more instrumental stuff filling in everywhere else. The choir features mostly in scene 1 and scene 4. Okay, thank God the whole thing is actually on YouTube. It's just on this album here by Kairos. So yeah, I can listen to it. And this is where you'll be able to find it too. I'll leave a link in the description. I don't think there's much else I can say about it. I believe the title is after a mythical deity. Yeah, Fama is just Rumour. Maybe I can read some Ovid just to get you in the mood for this. At the world's center is a place between the land and the seas and the celestial regions where the tripartite universe is joined. From this point, everything that's anywhere, no matter how far off, can be observed, and every voice goes right into its ears. Fama lives here. She chose this house herself, well situated on a mountain top, and added on some features of her own. It has innumerable entrances and 1,000 apertures, but not one door. By day and night it lies completely open. It is constructed of resounding brass that murmurs constantly and carries back all that it hears, which it reiterates. There is no quiet anywhere within, and not a part of it is free from noise. No clamor here, just whispered murmurings, as of the ocean heard from far away, or like the rumbling of thunder when great Jupiter has made the dark clouds speak. Crowds fill the entryway, a fickle mob that comes and goes, and rumors everywhere. Thousands of fabrications mixed with fact wander the premises, while false reports flit it all about. Some fill their idle ears with others' words, and some go bearing tales. Elsewhere, while everywhere, the fictions grow, as everyone adds on to what he's heard. Here are credulity and heedless error, with empty joy and fearful consternation, and here with unexpected treachery are whispers of uncertain origin. Nothing that happens, whether here on earth or in the heavens or the seas below, is missed by Fama as she sweeps the world. Okay, yeah, so this was an interesting listen. Having heard a lot of Führer's music before, even on this channel, nothing I heard was like surprising, except maybe the fourth movement had some like quartal and quintal harmonies that were quite consonant, and it was very strange to have this like sort of ambient texture that was in the middle of this piece. So that was different than a lot of Führer's music that I've listened to, but a lot of the techniques were things we've seen in other chamber orchestra pieces of his, and like chamber ensemble pieces. It was interesting seeing his work in a dramatic context, the way that he, especially in the third movement, like set this really long narration. Yeah, there's a page dedicated to the text, and yeah, the third movement is like 13 minutes long, and the narration goes by quite quickly. The actress is like really just blazing through this, and it's interesting to hear that against the music, and how the music sort of sets the text and infuses it with energy, or like takes energy away. There's like a lot of really sparse moments in the third movement that were almost just silence. Also, there's a whole movement that is just contrabass, flute, and the narrator. And what I found was that the movements just kept getting smaller and smaller in terms of how much space they took up on the page. Like the textures got sparser and sparser, and the number of pages required per movement, it just shrank. So the most impressive score, if you were to look at each of these movements, is definitely the first one. It's like really through, like completely rigidly composed. The whole ensemble's playing the whole time. By the time we get to the sixth movement, we just have contrabass, flute, and narrator, and it's incredibly slow and sparse and quiet, and it is kind of a. It reminds me of the Ovid that I read. It's like this idea of like whispering, but also this whispering being amplified by some sort of space. And the contrabass flute is that sort of space, like the brassy walls of Fama's house, you could say. Then the seventh movement took up even less space because it's effectively a bunch of very small parts that different members of the ensemble read at their own leisure when they're cued to start playing. And the conductor just has this like cueing scheme, and it just keeps building. You keep adding more and more parts until you get this tam-tam roll at the very end, at Q16, you could say. And there's an abrupt end. So it's kind of, yeah, actually 14 you cue the entry of the tam-tam. Q15 is for the rest of the ensemble to fade out, and then 16 is your cue to like keep the tam-tam to keep rolling, crescendoing more and more. So yeah, I thought that movement was interesting in terms of notation. It reminded me of there was a movement of Führer's string quartet that asked all four performers to sort of memorize these parts and then coordinate them. Like it was very this sort of elaborate aleatoric structured thing. Yeah, it's a very interesting score. I would recommend looking at it. It's a bit hard to read because of the handwriting, but it's full of life. Like his rhythmic writing is so interesting. Even that movement with just the contrabass flute, it's like incredibly quiet. You must have to amplify it or something in performance, but it's still full of life. Like it's infused with this sort of rhythmic energy that never backs off. So that's something to definitely look into as a composer. So yeah, that's it for this one. Next on the docket will be another Corey Reeder piece. I think it's his dissertation piece, actually. It's another piece for choir and orchestra. There's a couple other soloists involved too. And it'll be a little more easy to listen to than this, in the sense that it's not particularly modernist or dissonant. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope I was able to introduce you to this piece or this composer.